aristocrats.
Oh, yeah. Good joke, Jonathan. Good
Yeah,
joke.
isn't it? So, isn't it interesting how you can do things like buy new, like I feel like it's the same way with video equipment and audio equipment, where you buy it and it's just like, here's the thing, we just expect you to know how to use it. Like, we're not going to tell you anything about it. Like I bought like a digital camera and the guide to it was like a 2-page folding pamphlet, and it was like, here's how you turn your camera on. Here's the power button. Here's the focus. Have fun shooting things. And when in fact the camera's got like 35 different functions on it,
Yeah, and they just assume you will figure out how to use it.
along with like video editing software, I would imagine, very similar to like audio editing software. I imagine
Yeah,
like it just
yeah.
I got this great program, this great video editing program with my camera. Literally, it was a download code. Not like nothing else about the program. It's like, here, you can use this great program to edit all your videos. Nothing about how to use the program.
I am Cody Goff, and this is Jonathan Martin, and this is Game Life Balance U.S. And John started with this because we are starting 25 minutes late because I got home and started to set up everything with my new roughly $600 in podcasting equipment, and none of it functioned properly.
No, but you bought all of it legitimately, and none of it came with any instructions.
Yeah, I have the boxes. I mean, I have an instruction booklet, but it's not what I would call helpful. So there's that. See, at WGN Radio, we have the engineering team, and the engineers are paid as, I believe, union employees to know how to do all this wiring and rigging and technical stuff.
Do you think they're paid more than you and me?
Not for podcasting, yes,
Yeah.
because we don't get money for this.
Oh,
So probably.
you
But
don't get money for this?
Oh, you do, right? I forgot because you're sponsored by thebomb.com, right?
I'm actually sponsored by Welch's grape juice.
Actually, is thebomb.com a site? I'm morbidly curious now.
You're going to be on the list. You're going to be on the list. Don't go to that website.
Thebomb.com.
All
Because
right,
everyone always says it.
Now you've made the list.
Well, it redirects to the list.fbi.gov.
That's incredible.
You are now on our list.
That's weird that you can access the FBI list by going to their FBI website. That seems that doesn't seem like a comment. That doesn't seem like a good thing for American security. But yeah, the FBI knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't do that. It redirects you to the chive.com, which I have
classifiedinformation.com/lists. Oh, look, there you are. There's Cody Goff.
Yep, this is a garbage clickbait site. Fourth article, the force is strong with these fangirls. 39 photos. Categorized in girls, hot women, nerdy girls.
And let me guess, you have to click next to load a new page for every photo.
No, actually you can scroll down.
That's surprising. That's slightly surprising.
These are selfies that some of these are selfies someone probably downloaded from Snapchat. Basically, a lot of girls in tank tops or crop tops that have comic book logos on them.
Okay. That automatically makes them nerds.
Like, I just see a lot of cleavage and Batman logos and R2-D2 dresses and pouty faces.
Oh, pouty faces. That makes a good picture.
Oh, girls slightly tugging down the side of their pantaloons, and kissy faces, winky faces, butts, blank faces. I think the lights are on, but nobody is home with this girl. I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay.
None of this is good. This is terrible. Never go to thebomb.com. You may say it. You may say that's thebomb.com, but don't actually go to thebomb.com.
On this episode of Game Life Balance,
U.S.
a Game Life Balance podcast.
U.S.
That's what we do.
I was literally just listening to the third episode of Game Life Balance Australia, our sister show.
Wait, could it be our brother show? They're a bunch of guys, and I don't know, like, wouldn't they be our brothers?
That's actually a good point.
It also seems like there would be a great Australian term for brother, don't you think? There has to be.
Bloke.
I feel like cockslapper is probably a an Australian term of some kind.
Oi, cock slapper.
That's a brother, right? It's gotta be. That's gotta
I
be.
no, all right. They gave you the nickname Uncle Stabbo, which I feel
That's Australian for awesome dude.
yeah, I feel that's fine. I'm not going to give either of them the nickname cock slapper.
No, it's not a nickname. That's the Australian word for brother.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's like you're like, hey, Governor Cockslapper, how are you? Like
I
that's
don't
your.
think they say govna. I think that's a Cockney thing.
Oh,
As
I think you just have me on the Cockney accent thing whenever you do any kind of accent. I think
yeah,
that's
this is what happens. So I was
right.
listening to the third episode of Game Life Balance Australia, and I just listened to AC explaining that Rob is kind of like Ned Flanders. He's just super nice dude, and when he gets really angry about something, because he was supposed to move into a new house, as because he's your twin, and you did that, about a year ago this time, or
It's true.
yeah, 6 months ago or whatever. So now because he's your Australian doppelganger, and they must be like 4 months behind us time zone wise, so that's why he kind of echoes whatever you do. So he had to move into his house a week late, and AC explained that like when Rob gets angry, he like kind of bottles it up and just gets like super rage filled. And I feel like that kind of happened with me tonight with setting up all this podcasting stuff, because I was in a Tuesday mood when I got home.
Yeah, Tuesday's a tough day.
I was in a Tuesday mood, and then but I'm generally pretty positive on this podcast. And
Yeah.
then very expensive things that I paid for didn't work. Actually, this is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world, is when I pay for something very expensive and it doesn't work in some way. And not even if it's just instructions related. Like my new gaming rig that I got a year ago,
Yeah.
that was a couple grand. That's lots of money.
Yep.
It randomly turns itself on. I don't know if we've discussed.
It randomly turns itself on.
Yeah, I will shut down the computer, get up to walk away, and it powers back on.
That is really weird.
Yes. So I tried taking it apart to look at the power supply. Couldn't really get into the power supply unless I take pretty much the entire thing apart. Figured it might be a faulty power button. Nah, probably not. Our friend Logan advised me it may be my BIOS settings. Something could be awry. And I found some obscure BIOS setting that basically lets your home network wake up your computer. So let's say I'm on this PC and I send a message to my router to wake up the other PC. That is a thing. So I deactivated that, which I thought fixed the problem until about 2 days ago, when I shut down my computer, and 30 seconds later, it turned itself back on. So then I shut it down, and then 10 seconds later, it turned itself back on.
Do you think it's just sad that it's alone?
I don't know, but I'm not happy about it. And I get so frustrated. It's like it is the worst thing in the world to me. And it's a first world problem, fine. But when you pay good money for something brand new, it's like I work hard to have money to buy nice things. And then when those things don't work, then I'm just working hard.
I think part of the problem is that like there's the hardware side of everything. There's all of the actual stuff you're buying. And then there's the software side that runs all of that hardware stuff that you're buying. And that software side, I feel like, is where the stuff goes wrong. I feel like all of that equipment, that recording equipment that you have, is probably all awesome. And it probably all works exactly the way it's supposed to. But your software is just screwed up in some way, is probably what it is. Now your computer having maybe a piece of hardware screwed up, that I can believe. It is very common for hardware to have defects. I bought a brand new computer and the video card was faulty, so I had to call the company and they had to send me a new one. So like I am, when it comes to computers, I'm a little more, I think, sympathetic to like the fact that there's faulty hardware, but I think it's a software issue, honestly. I think most of it is just the programs governing how your equipment works. Probably just I don't actually know how to use them that well. is really what it boils down to. Like when something goes wrong, that's probably what's happening is I just kind of don't know what I'm doing is what I typically boil it down to.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure that's part of the issue too, but I will just say that basically the number one thing in the world that gets me angry more than anything else is when, again, because I feel like my life is being stolen. It's stealing my life energy. Like instead of having 2 rows of full hearts, I now am missing 4 or 5 hearts, which isn't that many hearts, but I still don't have enough hearts then to slash my sword and have a laser beam come out. And I want to slash my sword and have a laser beam come out because I work very hard at my very hard job to make laser beams come out of my sword. And then when they don't, it's like, why am I even alive? Basically, why am I alive?
I don't think I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about Zelda. I'm talking about the Legend of Zelda.
Okay. Still don't know if I know what you're talking about.
But it's the transitive property of I spend hours of my life, which I can never get back, working at a job, and I can never get those hours back. And I'm given money for those hours, which is great. And then I spend that money on things that then don't work. So I have sacrificed my life energy, which I will never replenish ever because I'm playing hero mode and there are no hearts that enemies drop. So I will never replenish that energy either. And there are no inns in The Legend of Zelda. So I can't go sleep at an inn to restore my HP and MP.
You should try to buy stuff that works then.
Right. So this is what I'm saying is basically that I should buy things that work.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could figure out what your problem was.
Me too.
You're just buying broken stuff.
So,
which seems like a bad investment, but you know, it's your money. You should be able to spend it how you want.
I hope that our audience does not mind that I just complained about podcasting while doing a podcast that I do because I love podcasting. Because I obviously we love doing it, but it's like having a kid, right? Like you love your son.
But then I hate him. Right. No, I see what you're saying.
Do you?
No. That's, I mean, yes, sometimes.
Okay, you don't hate him, but like if he does something really outrageous.
Does my child frustrate me sometimes? Like your child podcast equipment? Yes, my child frustrates me sometimes.
There you go. I'm thinking about getting a cat.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a kid. Which I was going to say, that's not really how that works.
Not thinking about that.
Okay. Yeah, you could get a cat. They suck. You can get one. Go for it.
They suck. Really interesting.
Yeah,
I think that we're going to have to debate this in another edition.
Yeah, we can talk about cat people versus dog people. Like, cat people are weird. And
no, we can't because cat people versus dog people reinforces the idea that people should be defined by binaries.
It's a binary. It is a binary choice. You are either
binary choice
or they are mutually exclusive and jointly exhaustive. Those are the only pets that are available.
Right. Exactly. So that's reinforcing a socially, constructed binary that I think is going to oppress some of our listeners. Trigger warning, by the way.
What are we talking about on this Bernie Sanders podcast?
I'm so sorry. Trigger warning, everyone at home that had to hear that. Oh my gosh. Or your gosh. I don't want to take ownership. Now, I read an article in The Atlantic today about trigger warnings and college culture. It was interesting and infuriating.
So do you think we could survive in college now? Could you survive in college? No.
I would get kicked out. For being
a I can't even say it without laughing. Yeah, right.
I'd be kicked out for what?
I was gonna say being a cis white male, but it was I literally couldn't say it without laughing. Yeah, so that's why I didn't say it until I had to compose myself.
The things are ridiculous. There was a kid at a school that was reading a book called
Mein Kampf.
Mein Kampf, right? And it was a school like I don't remember the school. Let's say Georgetown or something. It wasn't Georgetown, but let's say Georgetown. It was like something like there was reading a book called Georgetown versus the KKK, and he was reading a book about.
I was close then. I was close.
So it was about George, whatever the school is versus the Ku Klux Klan. And it was about how the student body at the school basically revolted and like refused to let the Ku Klux Klan have a presence on their campus and have a voice in the 1910s or the 1920s. And it was cool. It was like a social, like, oh, students, standing up to discrimination. And a student on campus saw this person reading the book and was offended because the book's cover had a picture of the KKK, and that student was expelled.
What?
Yes. I'm not making this up.
That doesn't seem like that's an actual thing.
No, this was in the Atlantic article. I am 100% being serious right now. I'm going to look it up, actually.
That doesn't seem like real.
I'm Googling it. You could hear me typing.
Oh, I can hear it. I can hear the furious Googling is happening right now.
This was Indiana University. It was Notre Dame versus the Klan.
Okay.
So
somebody at Notre Dame was upset.
A janitor whom a university official had accused of racial harassment for reading a historical book about the Ku Klux Klan has gotten an apology from the school.
Okay.
So that actually happened. That's a thing that happened.
So you're saying that college is awesome now?
Yeah, something like that.
So this was all on the agenda of what we were talking about today, right?
Yeah, maybe he wasn't expelled, but there's still a story about it.
I prefer your highly inflammatory version of the story over the actual facts. It makes news way better when you make it up.
No, today is going to be one of those podcasts where we have an entire sheet of topics ready, and they just
we don't talk about any of them.
No, we just kind of free. Well, this actually happens on WGN radio all the time. Would you believe that?
Yes, I can believe that you produce a professional show that is not, in fact, professional. Yes, I can absolutely believe that.
No, but you know that happens in radio sometimes.
I feel like that probably happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised by that at all. Your fact that was meant to surprise me, not actually that surprising. Okay. Wait a minute, hang on. I'm going to play along. I was really surprised, see?
Wow.
Is that true?
I believe you.
Do you actually have to improv in radio?
Especially
Wait, hang on. I'm surprised.
You're really proud of how close you are to that mic, aren't you? You're really milking the whole...
I'm going to eat the mic today. It's going to make it better.
You sound really good when your mouth is 2 inches away from the mic. Also, because I can only see a third of your face in the camera when you do that.
It's really kind of uncomfortable, though, because I have to like get all up on it and here. I don't know.
We do have a viewer in our chat for our live broadcast. Steven from the Gonna Geek Network said, "Damn, I wanted you to be. Let's start that over. Damn, I wanted to be the number one reason, the number one thing that makes you angry. No, you're the number 4.
That's quite a list you probably got there.
You probably don't want to hear it. Should we say the name of the segment and start? Why don't I let you talk about something?
Okay,
before I talk about cats.
That's okay. Yeah, no, I'm ready to talk about it. Do you know that you've known me for a long time, and you've known me as like I've gotten older and wiser and generally I would consider better as a person.
Or just than you used to be?
Than I used to be. And I feel like that one of my better characteristics is that I am a relatively patient person. Like and maybe you haven't known me as I have gotten older and more patient, I guess, as much, but I generally am, and many of my peers here consider me a relatively patient person, and I have a high tolerance for bullshit. I work in an industry. I work in pharmacy, in an industry where I have to serve people, and people can be not nice, and so you have to learn how to deal with people that are not nice and still appease them. Like it's a skill. It's a learned skill. It takes a while to learn how to do that. So I've done that for many years of my life, and I've become a patient person. This is all leading somewhere. And I downloaded a game that I heard about on a podcast for my phone that I heard was like a phenomenal phone game.
Oh, you're telling this story. You have to say the name of the segment we're doing.
This is life stuff, life stuff, life stuff, life stuff, life stuff.
Life.
This could also be considered, I guess, full gamer, but it's not really.
No, we're not going full gamer this episode. We're going life stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This is more life stuff. So I downloaded this game because podcast told me to, and I rage uninstalled the game yesterday, and it's the first time that I have like rage quit a game. It could literally be ever. It could be ever. And I have zero intention, zero plans, zero intention of downloading this game again.
So tell me what this game was and why I should play it.
You should download it right now. So no, but you really should, because here's the saddest part to me is that this game is truly a really, really, really good mobile game. It really is. And that's not an exaggeration.
Good?
It's fantastic. It's a game called Clash Royale. It's a game that is by the same company that made Clash of Clans. It's called Supercell. It's one of like the largest now mobile game companies ever because Clash of Clans is so big. And what it is a tower offense game. So if you've ever played a tower defense game, it's a game where you've got a tower. There's waves of, they call them creeps, coming at your tower. And it's your job to kill the creeps before they destroy your tower. Well, in this game, you have a tower, and then you have two flanking towers to your left and your right. And you spawn units with these cards. They're collectible cards. And so you're spawning units over the course of the match. And there's 48 different types of units that you're collecting that you can collect the cards for. And different units unlock as you increase in rank. So when you win, you get like your rank increases, and when you lose, it decreases.
Are
and
these all relevant to why you rage uninstalled it?
Yes. Yes. I guess not really. Not really. So the game is just okay. I'll put it this way: the game is tuned really well.
Okay.
Like it's incredibly even. Yeah. Except for the fact that your cards can level up in the game. And so, like, I could have the archer card, and you could have the archer card, and my archer card could be at level 3, and yours could be at level 5, and there's a significant difference between those cards when they're played in the game.
Okay.
So, I had not put any money into the game, and I got to, there are 8 different arenas, and I got to arena 5, and I was pretty solidly in arena 5. And just like most competitive games, it's one-on-one. There's win streaks and loss streaks. I've dealt with them in League of Legends before, and I've played it. Like, it's a thing that I'm used to. I'm used to playing a game like that. So these matches each take the maximum of 4 minutes. So they're very brief. And I was playing, and I was losing matches, and I lost like 4 matches in a row. And I was getting a little like frustrated with the game because you have to win matches to basically get chests to unlock to get more cards. That's the only way to get more cards.
Of course.
Is to like win and unlock chests that way. And I was just getting frustrated because I was like, I don't like have a lot of time to play this game. Like, I just want to like win a match or two and then get out and leave, you know? And it requires constant attention. It's not a game that you can like play for a second and then look away. Like, if you're going to play this game, you got to be tuned into the game. So it's requiring all of my concentration over these 4-minute matches to play it. And I lost like 4 in a row. And one of the things that the game has in it is emotes. It doesn't have communication between players. It just has emotes. And the emotes that you can do are of like the king, this like cartoonish king with these just awful expressions, like expressions that are meant to make you angry when somebody uses them. I don't have a good way of describing it other than like it's a guy, you know, grinning in a really condescending way, kind of. And it's anger inducing. It's anger inducing. It's meant to be anger inducing. So, and people are jerks in this game. And so like when they win, they'll spam these emotes. Normally this kind of thing doesn't bother me at all. But for some reason, just like the way the artwork is and just the way that it is, it just was, and the fact that I had lost so many matches in a row, it just super got to me. And then I thought about this tweet that I saw was somebody also complaining about the emotes of this game. And a response to this tweet was, the developers actually want you to feel this way. Anger inhibits your it's basically an inhibitor for your emotions, and they anticipate you like then going and spending money out of anger because you get angry at this game. And I immediately thought back to that when I got this angry, because I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I don't get this upset about video games, like, ever. And I was like, this is insidious. Like, this is actually filthy. This is kind of filthy. And I can't have this in my life, because I may end up doing something I regret, like spending a bunch of money on this stupid game that is a great game, but literally makes me angry. So I uninstall it.
So you were taunted into uninstalling the game?
Yes. Yes, I was.
All right. So is there any way to mute?
No, they do not allow you to do that.
Of
course they don't, because like this response to this tweet that I saw said, they want you to be angry.
You know what's interesting about that is I was looking through some Hearthstone guides, and I don't remember if it was arena or deck building or whatever, but I was looking through some pro tip stuff, and at the end or the beginning of the post, or I don't remember where, but it said, and always squelch your opponent, or and squelch your opponent, like in all caps or bold or something. Yeah. Just a quick bullet. And when you play Hearthstone, for those who don't know, if you tap your opponent's face and hit squelch, then that mutes them, basically.
Yeah, because otherwise there's a limited number of things that they can say to you. They're basically like just like 4 to 6 different things they can say. There's 6 different things they can say to you, and then they're canned things that they can say, and they're translate across all languages. I think that's part of the point of it.
Yeah. So hello is pretty neutral. Well played is, oh, I respect my opponent. Thanks. Well, I'll get to that. You know, you can threaten, which is just a taunt, which a lot of people just use to be goofy. And then there's a couple other ones. But sorry kills me. Like, if I play a card and it's going to do one damage to a random opponent, and the opponent knows which character I want to hit, and it hits a different one, or let's say, you know, it's like draw a card from each deck. If your card is a higher value, then you get a bonus, and like you draw a card and it's a lower value. When they say sorry, I get furious. So now the first thing I do every game of Hearthstone I play, every single one, is I squelch the opponent every single time without fail. And the only time I will unsquelch them is if they're running a deck that I hate, at which point I will unsquelch them, and then I will taunt them. And I will say sorry over and over and over again. So anytime I fight a Paladin Murloc deck, I unsquelch them right at the end, and I say sorry like 10 times, and then I kill them. And it's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Okay. So there's a term that League users use, League of Legends users use, and it came from poker, and it's called being on tilt. And it's an emotional, it's like a heavily emotional negative response to the game that you're playing, based on, typically it's like a number of losses in a row, but it can also be like a negative event that occurred in a game. It's termed being on tilt, and I believe it came from poker first. There was something called full tilt poker. That's where it came from, and that was like the idea. That's like what I thought of when this happened, and I got so angry. I was like I tilted. Like, this game literally tilted me, which I have kind of prided myself on for as much as I've played League of Legends, it's never tilted me the way that this game did in like 6 days of playing this game.
Huh.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I recognized that it was like something that I just really didn't like, and I didn't like feeling that way. It wasn't enjoyable, and I was like, I'm done. I'm just not going to do it. So I literally uninstalled it from my iPod or iPad, uninstalled it from my phone, and it's gone. It's out of my life.
Probably good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good that I can recognize stuff like that.
Probably.
It's just a damn shame because the game was really fun. It's legitimately really good.
I mean, I tilt somewhat on the reg, but that's, I mean, not on
it's like a personality thing though, too. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with having that personality. I think that like lends itself to probably being more aggressive in other areas of your personality, which it might be good to be aggressive in. It's just that's not me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. And I usually drive, I mean, when I go tilt and then I accomplish something, I mean, you know, if I go tilt because I can't beat a boss, then when I beat that boss, it's like one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that was super interesting because I've never had that experience before. And it was really unpleasant. Like, it was legitimately unpleasant. So now I totally understand what people like when people get super upset when like they're playing Hearthstone or they're playing League of Legends. Like, I like understand that, I think, a little more now.
There you go. I'm glad that you can relate now.
Yeah, it was awful.
Well, so I know you have another life stuff story, but I also have a life stuff story that I'll interject that I teased
talk about
earlier.
my next one the another week. It's
that I why don't we just talk about it? Well, after I'm done with mine,
because it's more important than yours, and you're like cutting in. So
I was gonna do mine, and then you can do yours. I was gonna take turns.
Oh, we're gonna make a Jonathan sandwich. We're gonna make a Jonathan.
Yeah, I want to make a Jonathan sandwich. Is that so wrong?
Yeah. So you're gonna be my meat. You're gonna be my meat in my Jonathan sandwich.
Please don't ever say that phrase again.
Thank you for being my meat. You make good meat.
All right, this needs to end immediately. So for more life stuff, I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about getting a cat. So my girlfriend's, a couple members of my girlfriend's family were passing through town the other day on a road trip on Saturday, and they stayed with us. And Casey's sister brought her cat along. Her cat is adorable. It's one of those cute orange cats. Walked around my apartment sniffing everything. Jumped up on the counter because cats can jump 5 feet in the air, which is really cool. And the whole time I'm like, don't get any ideas. We're not getting a cat. We don't have anywhere to put a cat. Don't get any ideas. I don't want cat hair and everything. Not getting a cat. Well, so living in Chicago, in my last apartment, it would have been totally impossible. The litter box would not have gone anywhere unless it was in the living room next to the TV, stinking up the living room.
That's a bad spot for it.
Right. Or in my bedroom. There was literally no room in the bathroom. Like the bathroom, basically the door opened and that was the whole bathroom. And the bathroom was pretty much a closet in my last place. And I wasn't going to put it in the kitchen or in my bedroom. So nowhere to put that, right? Well, my apartment now, I don't know if you've heard, but my apartment's very long.
Yeah, you've told me that like multiple times.
It's a very long apartment. I mean, it's probably like, it's got to be 30 feet long.
We're all impressed with
it. Might be more than 30 feet long.
Everybody is impressed with the length of your apartment.
You should be impressed at how long my apartment is because it's like really long.
Okay, we're impressed.
And next door to the bathroom is a little furnace room. And we just cracked the door open, put the litter box in there. It's away from the living room. It worked fine. And now I kind of want a cat.
So how sold are you on this idea?
Well, I should probably see if my lease will allow me to get a cat.
Okay, no, that's a good first step. Is our pets allowed? Yeah, that's a good
Just thinking that our pets allowed. Well, I know dogs aren't, but that's because I believe the primary reason is volume of the not volume as in quantity.
I think there's a number of reasons why apartment complexes don't allow dogs.
No. My landlord specifically said I don't want dogs because they're loud.
Okay.
So I know that, but I don't remember about cats because more people are allergic to cats, right? So I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
The other thing is, my best friend of me here, Russian John, is like deathly allergic to cats.
Oh, so this could keep him away from you.
Right.
That's actually a good reason.
Right? So there's kind of that. I don't know, but I don't know, man. Cats are really cute and fun, and it'd be like a practice run for having a kid because humans are
It's true. I feel like cat is pet light. Like it is the largest probably animal that you can get that requires the least amount of responsibility.
yeah, and price wise, they cost on average about $600 a year.
Generally, you probably shouldn't be buying a pet if you're analyzing it by cost, maybe. Like
It's a
that's
factor. It's a factor worth taking into account.
taken into account, yes, but that like shouldn't be one of the primary reasons for which you are purchasing an animal.
Because I can afford it. I don't buy anything because I can afford it. I'm really cheap in a lot of ways.
Okay. So like I don't know. I just think I personally am just not a cat person. I get some people are. I don't get
Why are
it.
you reinforcing gender binary? That's a social construct. I'm triggered.
I
I
don't
hope
say
I
anything
didn't
about
trigger
gender.
anybody by saying that I was triggered.
When are you thinking about doing this? Like
I
pulling
have,
this trigger?
I don't know. Well, because I mean, to be honest, my girlfriend and I do a lot during the summer, and we're planning
Okay.
on traveling at least some.
That's a
Martin
big
Con's
thing. That's a big
coming out.
thing.
Yeah, so it's I mean, I know cats are a lot more independent, but um, I don't know. It could be a future thing, but I'm considering a cat. And see, I grew up with a golden retriever, and then my parents got another golden retriever. I love animals,
Yeah.
but in the city, I think that anybody that owns a dog is completely insane because of the amount of responsibility and time and money. You want to talk about prohibitively expensive? I mean, oh my god, dogs can cost $100 a week to maintain.
Is it because you can't guarantee your schedule like to get out and get like back to your apartment in time as to why you can't walk your own dog in the city?
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, so like I briefly dated a girl who lived in an apartment building and the dog walker lived in her building. So she's running late from work or she needed to stay late from work or people wanted to get drinks. She'd have to call this person and be like, "Oh, are you available? Oh, can you walk the dog? Okay, yes, I'll give you $30 to walk the dog or whatever." It's ridiculous. And my sister's trying to get one and I am violently trying to talk her out of it, and she thinks I came down too hard on her, but I'm like, no, you don't get it. These are like basically the only reason to be single in your 20s is so you can do whatever you want whenever you want. If you get a dog, you're immediately eliminating all of that.
It's very true. Like it as a dog owner, if I did not have the ability to split the responsibility with my wife, it and now we have a kid, so it's a much different thing. But we had the dog when we were married. It was I would not have done a dog alone. I would not have done it. Like
Right?
it is an enormous amount of responsibility.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I'm not into that idea at all.
Cool. All right. Great. I will send a clip of that to my sister then. I'm sure she'll listen to us because
So you think cat because it's just less responsibility and it's like the ability to have a cuddly animal with being able to like leave it for a couple of days on its own?
no, it's because I love watching them do stuff.
Okay.
It'd be like I have a YouTube cat video in my house.
That's like the first time I've ever heard that. That's good. Okay.
It'd be like a cat. It'd be like if I went to like catvideos.com. I wonder if that's a website. Cat
No,
videos.
it just redirects to thebomb.com, which just redirects.
No, I got a PDO exception. Cannot
Uh,
connect to local MySQL server through
mm, classic PDO
socket/var/run/mysqld.
exception. Yep. Classic.
How is catvideos.com? How about catvideos.net?
Dot bike. Dot
You
bike.
know this is going to work. And it's cat videos.
And it's a porn site.
The tagline
Yep.
is all cats all the time.
Okay.
It is not a porn site. It was last updated April 6, 2012. I'm going to try and buy that.
Well, I hope you get a cat? I don't know if I hope you get a cat.
I don't think you care.
Well,
although our viewership
it's just going to decrease. It's just going to decrease the likelihood of you ever visiting me if you have an animal that you are then also responsible for.
That's not true in any way. But here's what might happen. It might hop in my lap. Here's how it's relevant to the podcast to tie everything together. It could hop up in my lap, and then I could hold it for a second, and it could be in the video. So then our YouTube video thumbnail will feature me holding a cat. And then people will see that and say, oh, a lifestyle podcast that vaguely sounds like a video game podcast in which a guy who is relatively attractive is holding a kitten.
Is holding Mr. Peepers.
If I'm holding a kitten, people will click if I'm holding a kitten.
So how far into this idea are you? Have you like determined breed of cat you want? Are we talking I'm going to buy an actual kitten, or I'm going to adopt something, like, or is this just like in the most nebulous of ideas at the moment?
I think if it's just a male cat, we might name it Alonzo or Cooper. I threw out Cooper. I didn't actually get feedback on that, but maybe Alonzo.
Cooper's a terrible name for a cat. Alonzo's all right.
All right. We're not sure about the girl name. I don't know. Maybe Casey's got some. I got nothing.
This is Peepers.
The only name I can think of for a girl is Zelda. The only one. I don't know why.
We had a friend whose cat's name was Zelda.
Who?
Justin in Des Moines. His cat's name was Zelda.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend on Facebook named Kelly who also has a cat named Zelda.
It seems like it's a good cat name.
It's a good cat name, but
Robin Williams named his daughter Zelda. His daughter was not a cat, but his daughter's name is Zelda.
But what if she were? What if she had, like, he didn't know that before she was.
It would be a great cat name.
He didn't know her before she was born. She could have come out being a cat. I don't know.
Right. That's right. That does work that way sometimes.
Well, maybe Robin Williams was a furry when he had sex with his wife to impregnate her with Zelda.
He was a very hairy man. He made many jokes about that, actually.
Get
a lot of stand-up bits about how hairy he was.
And Cody's right, and scene yet again.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that wonderful insight into Robin Williams.
That's incredible.
Thank you. So that's how far I don't know anything about shelters or breeds or anything. I just know I want it to be cute.
All right.
I'm the worst.
So people say when they have kids too. They're like, I don't know anything about having babies. I just hope my baby's cute.
Is that what you said?
That's exactly right. That's how we decided to have a kid.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Can't tell how serious you are about that.
Not serious, kind of at all.
Oh. Well, that's fun life stuff.
Yeah, it was.
So you want to do your thing next week then, huh?
Yeah, I'll do my thing next week.
All right, that was a tease for the listener. Let's wrap up real fast with like a lightning round, just like a 5 or 10 minute lightning round real quick with current news. For those watching on YouTube, I did a dramatic eye thing, so you might want to rewind it. Watch me do that. Thank you for the news sound effect. I love it. So, two items in current news.
Could you read my Morse code just now?
I'm probably going to mute that
the
when
dots
I edit.
and dashes. Did you read the Morse code?
Just kidding. I don't work on.
I insulted you and I made a naughty word.
Did you learn Morse code from Star Trek? Hold on. Motion picture, search for Spock, undiscovered country. Star Trek 5, the final. Did you learn that from Star Trek 5, the Final Frontier?
No, because that was a bad one.
Yeah, it was. So, just a couple quick things in current news. We talked about indie games. Well, I guess that Clash Royale game, is it? It's just a casual game.
It's a casual game, but it is. Well, I mean this when I say it is like an incredibly complex, deep strategy game. It's a really good game. It just really makes me angry.
Okay. Well, a game that doesn't make you... All right, well, let's talk about something that doesn't make you angry and is not a casual game, but is an indie game, and it's called Risk of Rain, and it is on the Sony PlayStation Store now, basically. So that's awesome.
Yes. It just came
Yes.
out, didn't it?
Yes, Jonathan and I have talked about Risk of Rain. We talked about it extensively on our video game podcast, Unqualified Gamers. You can find all our old episodes at gamelifebalance.us, by the way. So check out our website. Just search Risk of Rain if you want to hear us talk about it. We
We're
talked about
on
it
the
on
record
several occasions.
really liking Risk of Rain many times.
Yeah, many times, many times. So Risk of Rain is now on PlayStation 4, and this is a big deal because, as we've mentioned, and we've kind of talked about this before, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But it's I just want to make everyone aware that it's now a thing. The one major drawback of Risk of Rain, which was an excellent multiplayer side-scrolling roguelike platformer, really, really good co-op game. The one major drawback was it didn't have an online infrastructure built into the PC game, because it was made by indie developer.
And you froze. You're probably going to have to drop out and come back in. So it looks like Cody is dealing with some tough technical difficulties. He just messaged me. So as he was talking about, I don't exactly know where he cut off. In terms of where I heard him, he was talking about this Risk of Rain, and the biggest problem with Risk of Rain for us was that the online infrastructure was, as he said, it was peer to peer, and so whenever we wanted to play it together, we had to connect somebody's computer or multiple people's computer to one other person's computer, which meant that that person had to open up their the ports on their router. We had to get their IP address and then directly connect to that IP address and enter that manually. And I'm not saying that it was not something that we could figure out, because obviously we did. We played the game together a lot, but it was a hassle. I mean, none of us were like terribly network savvy. And so anytime we ever wanted to play Risk of Rain together, it usually took us anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to set it up, which was weird because generally the settings stayed roughly the same. As you can see when we record, that doesn't necessarily matter because the settings when we record are always the same as well. But for some reason, Cody manages to break his system every time we record. So um, the fact that this game is coming to PS4 makes it super fun because it's the infrastructure is going to be built right into PlayStation Plus. And so we're going to be able to just say, hey, I'm going to connect to, and I don't exactly know how it works. I haven't researched how, whether you can like play with random people or whether you can just play with friends, but connecting through their servers is going to make it so much more enjoyable of an experience, rather than trying to connect based on direct IP addresses. So that's one of the things that we're extremely excited about. The next piece of current news that we have on here, um, Cody actually wrote it on here, and it's that Victoria, which is a state in Australia, has become the first state in Australia. And keep in mind, I'm reading this from Cody. This could be completely inaccurate. Victoria has become the first state in Australia to legalize medical marijuana, and he claims that our podcast is the reason why. Now, I have very little knowledge of the way that Australia's state governs, but if it's anything like the United States, we just did our podcast last week, and it probably is not enough time from when we aired our podcast last week to this week. That 1 week of time is probably not enough time for an entire state in a country to change laws. I'm just going to assume that that's probably correct. And so I'm going to say that it probably wasn't our fault that this happened.